Hi, hi. Let's see. Hi, hi. Hi. Let me adjust my light a little. Hi, hi. Hi, guys. Okay, so I see some new faces. I am going to introduce myself. My name is Agatha Achindu. Let me see if the chef doc, okay, Dr. Zhu needs to request so I can log him in. My name is Agatha Achindu. I am a certified integrative nutritionist and wellness entrepreneur. My motto is to eat, love, and be happy. And for the past 25 years, I have helped families do just that by transforming their relationship with food and self and restoring total wellness for a happier life. Is he? Oh yeah, there is a request. 1 second. My articles on food and lifestyle have been published in national press, including the Washington Post, Huffington Post, Parent Magazine, Motherly Magazine, to name a few. Um, in 2006, I founded the first nationally distributed organic food for kids. Hi, Dr. Zhu.
Hi.
I'm introducing myself, and then I'll let you introduce yourself.
No problem.
In 2006, I founded the first nationally distributed organic food for kids, sold in Walmart stores nationwide, because I know that convenient food, that healthy food actually must be convenient food. Wellness is my passion. Every day I teach people how to eat, love, and be happy, because good health honestly must be accessible to everyone. Dr. Zhu, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this with us. I am going to let you introduce yourself, and then we'll get right to it.
No problem. No problem. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, yes.
Okay, awesome. I was, playing around with a couple of headphones, so I didn't know how this worked. You always technology, right? So,
Yeah.
hi everyone. I'm Dr. Colin Zhu. I'm so excited to be here. Agatha, thank you so much for having me on. It's nice to finally, see you in person. You and I have actually, collaborated before, so this is fun.
I know. I
I'm so
know.
excited. Yeah. Yeah, so for those of you who don't know me, I'm Dr. Colin Zhu, also known as the Chef Doc is my avatar. And yeah, about me. So I'm originally from New Jersey. I'm here in LA right now, and I'm a board certified family practitioner and lifestyle medicine physician as well. And I'm very, very fascinated with the cross sections of medicine, food, using food as medicine, nutrition, and everything that is healthy living, wellness, prevention, things like that. And, my thing is all about thriving and the different components to that. So, I'm always fascinated about it. And, we sign up to be eternal learners, right? So we're always having that curious mind. And yeah, so
I want to make sure that your earpiece haven't gone out. You can hear me?
yeah, I can hear you. I
Okay,
can hear
good.
you.
Okay, so thank you so much. And that's why when I was looking for somebody to add to our Grow and Strive series, you you are the perfect person for me, because as a physician as well as a certified nutritionist, you actually see the problem, especially with the chronic preventable diseases.
Mm-hmm.
You see it, and the solution is right there.
So the first question that I have for you today is that today in America and around the world, our immune system has taken center stage. If there is one thing COVID-19 has revealed, it is the importance of our immune system as our number one defense against disease, not just COVID. Tell us a little bit about why the immune system is so important to our overall health and how food and lifestyle choices play a role in supporting it.
Yeah, definitely. So while I'm answering this, I did send you a direct message about something. So
Okay.
yeah, so
Through you sent it through Instagram.
yeah, Instagram, the DM. So
Ah,
yeah, so
that would be interesting. Let me see how I can make that work. I don't know how
okay.
to check my message when I'm on
I
IG
don't want
Live.
yeah, I don't want to say it over the air, but
Yeah. Um, let's see. Let's see.
or I could
Can
just or I can
can
just say that in
can
terms of, number three, just if we can take that
okay,
out.
cool. Okay,
Yeah, if that
sure.
makes sense. Okay.
Sure.
Okay,
Sure,
great.
sure, sure, sure,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah,
Okay.
no problem at all.
Um, so in terms of you know, our immune system. So it's a very good question, and it can go in so many different directions. Um, so what we're facing now, obviously, is a pandemic, right? That is originated from a virus that has a global hold on our, not only our nation, but almost every country, on the planet, right? And why is it infecting us? Because of the human species, right? And actually, I don't know if people know this or not, but there was actually the first dog that passed away from COVID, just last week. So yeah, so
Wow.
that's just a fun, not a fun tip, but it's very unfortunate.
Wow.
Unfortunate.
Oh my
But
gosh, I didn't even know that. Ooh.
yeah. So in terms of the human body, we have our, immune system that helps us ward off invaders, so to speak. I know a lot of your audience, you cater towards parents and children.
Yeah.
So I will do my best. I think one of the jobs as being a physician is deciphering the medical lingo, so we can understand and have effective communication. So
Yeah.
the immune system is basically our defense system. It is made up, it's kind of like our military system. You have the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines, things like that. And it's there. We are very, very blessed to have, an immune system that protects us. And so how does it work? The immune system works in many different ways. We have our frontline soldiers. We have, soldiers that are, more specialized. We have, agents that remember, previous invaders that come in. And then every organ system, even our skin, has abilities, to ward off different things. We have a great detoxification system, so there's many layers to how the body is so miraculous and so
Yeah.
magnificent, complex, and, we're still learning about it. The immune system lives in our gut, about, 65, 70% of it lives in our gut. And, what is our gut? Our gut is basically, our digestive tract starts from the mouth and goes all the way to our bottom end. And it's just one way in, one way out, and, so what that tells you is that whatever you consume is literally the front gates of how you can pretty much directly influence the immune system, right?
Yeah.
And so, sometimes people say that the immune system, the gut health, because people, those are buzzwords now that we're, talking about. We also call it our second brain, right?
Yeah.
And, we have our main brain, right? And that, our main brain is made up of our nervous system, including our spinal cord. The reason why we call the gut, also, the second brain is because, they found millions and millions and millions of nervous cells there as well. So there's a lot of layers to that question, but, short and sweet, our immune system is awesome. It lives in our gut. We have a direct influence of it, and, food and lifestyle choices, have a very, very important role, and also a very negative role, depending on how, how it works, how you, do your day-to-day lifestyle.
Yeah, thank you so much. And this actually takes us to my second question. You, you are a practicing physician and an integrative nutritionist. You have a very unique edge, especially when it comes to nutrition and lifestyle. Chronic diseases, since you have the solution and somewhat the problem, you have the solution to the problem. 4 of the top 10 leading causes of death listed on the CDC website are nutrition and lifestyle related: heart disease, cancer, diabetes, and stroke. For parents listening, what can they do today to make sure that their children don't become part of these statistics? What can adults who are already suffering do to change it?
Yeah, that's a great question. Let me see which direction to lead us. So basically, the coronavirus, even though it's in our forefront in terms of being this, very hard to control, virus, for majority of our lives, without you knowing, your body automatically fights off bacteria, fungus, viruses, other types of viruses, and other foreign, agents that attack the body, and that's what's great about how, our human body works, right? And so when we get sick, or we become chronically ill, most of, like you said, Agatha, is most of our, things that actually kill us are things that are, lifestyle related. And what I mean by lifestyle related means, how we, what we eat, what we put in our bodies, how much or how little we move our bodies, right? Whether we get good, proper sleep, okay? Stress management, how well we, manage our stress. We can't, it's kind of like taxes. You can't really avoid stress, but you can, manage it, right?
That's right.
Good weight management, right? And avoiding, risky behaviors, and, reinforcing our community and relationships to people. Those right there are literally the pillars of good health. And it's not rocket science, you know what I'm saying? But I think what society does is that we try to look for the quick fixes, as Americans. And I know that, you're not originally from America, but as you can tell from your time here, it's, we want the quick fixes. We want the, the immediate, gratification, and we want the magic bullets. And the problem is that it doesn't exist, and even medications and procedures, statistically, they are not going to be as powerful as enhancing the pillars of what I just said, and, the food, how we move, all that stuff. It's not as powerful. And so we can definitely go into each one of them, but I guess I'll just, stop right there.
No, that's good. I think you really nailed it. I've been in America for, I don't know, embarrassed to say 30 years. And the more social media gets more mainstream, the more the test for excessive convenience. You see even trends with flat belly teas. And sometimes I tell my clients, I tell my friends, I tell my family, you are not the latest trend.
Yeah.
You're not the latest fad diet. Wellness is accessible to all if you put in the effort. It takes effort. It takes consistency. It's not complicated. Move your body, as you said, move your body a little, eat the right food, manage stress, avoid risky behaviors. Those are things that would help. But sometimes it gets, because when these trends get advertised, it's like, oh, for 30 days you can lose, for somebody who is trying to lose weight, you can lose 50 pounds. Nobody wants to listen to you that's telling them, well, it might take you 1 year, to lose 50 pounds. But during that period, you're going to build some muscle, you're going to have better control, you're going to have good quality life, because during that stretch of time, right, you're not avoiding, no matter what we're trying to do to gain health, we still have to live and we have to be happy. So it might not be as convenient to do it overnight.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is that it takes practice. I think the biggest thing is that it takes practice. It takes forming it into a routine, right? It takes behavior change. That's the hardest for people. You know, they would rather stick to what is comfortable. They would rather stick to what is familiar and what is known to them. If you try to get someone to change, especially changing their entire lifestyle, that is almost like climbing a big mountain as opposed to just going over a hill, right, with a quick fix, you know what I'm saying? And people would rather do that. But unfortunately, I'm sure people would agree that time and time again, the problem still comes back. There's a wonderful quote by Hippocrates, the father of medicine, way back when. And he says that, you know, before you heal someone, right, you have to ask them whether they are willing to give up what makes them sick, right? And so you kind of have to be self-reflective in terms of, you know, what are the behavior changes that I'm implementing, whether it's, you know, eating a high refined processed, diet, also known as a SAD diet. Am I smoking? Am I overweight? Am I not moving enough? Do I have, really poor relationships with my family and friends? You have to ask yourself these questions. And if you want to get well, you have to be able to give up those things. You have to, essentially, you have to get rid of them. You know what I'm saying? No drug or procedure is going to get you to that top of the mountain, And what I find with my patients is that when you talk to them and you try to make this change, it's harder for them to make this change for themselves. But if you think about it, we're all connected, and directly and indirectly influencing other people around us, not just our family and friends. Social media, enhances that with, the followers and, all this other stuff, but you're in this web. It's basically the best, description. You're in this web. So how you take care of yourself, how you look at yourself, and, what you do on a day-to-day basis affects others. So, they say that you are the average of the 5 closest people around you. So, you also have to look at your environment. What can you change about your environment?
Yeah. I think listening to you talk, I truly believe that your patients are lucky, because that's what we don't get when you're not just looking at sickness care. You are looking at the whole person. My hope is that from day one that I've been in this country, I keep hoping that medicine will go to this place where when somebody walks into a doctor's office, they are not the sum total of one symptom.
Yes.
They are a whole person. And to have a doctor, I know the system is just stacked so crazily because you don't have so much time to see one patient. It's 10 minutes here, 15 minutes there. Yeah. But if you have a doctor that you walk in and your doctor is looking at you quoting, hypocrites and going, it's not just, it's the whole mind, body, and spirit, not just, oh, I have a headache or I need this. So I really, really, if I was in LA, you'll be my physician. And I really, really, really appreciate what you're doing.
And that means a lot. I really appreciate it as well. And, the reason for that, I think, the reason why I was on this direction, just to kind of give you a short snippet, is, I have to give a lot of thanks to my mother. She's a Chinese medical doctor, and, she's been practicing for, 4 decades. And, to be able to be raised in that kind of mindset of wellness and looking at, the patient in a whole approach. And, they're just you know, they're way beyond their symptoms. You know, you have to understand the
Yeah.
person. And that's what I got from her mainly. And, you know, going into that, you know, I just find that, you know, that's how I needed to be as a physician. And, you know, and then I just got into food and all this other stuff that, you know, really got me to this point. So, but yeah, you're absolutely right. And it's really about doing the right thing at the end of the day. And unfortunately, the healthcare system, you know, unfortunately, it's not, you know, from benefits to insurance to, you know, just getting people well. I mean, wellness doesn't make money. You know what I'm saying? Sickness makes money.
Oh my gosh.
That's the
That's one of
problem.
my all-time favorite quotes. I tell people all the time, until we figure out in America how to make wellness pay, we are always going to be in this sickness care system.
Yeah.
Because it's unfortunate that our medical system, our healthcare system is a for-profit
Oh yeah,
organization. So by
definitely.
default, trying to get you well, it's almost against the bottom line
It is. It is.
of what it is, because it's a for-profit business.
Yeah.
Um,
And the
this
people
takes
who and the
Go
people
ahead.
who and the I'm sorry, I mean the
No,
people
go
who
ahead.
want that interest that you're referring to are the ones that are not directly in clinical care. You know, what
Yeah.
medicine has turned into is that there's a lot of people between, like, let's just say, for example, you're my patient, right? And I'm the physician. There's a lot of people in between us, you
That's
know,
right.
and all those people in between us, they don't have direct, you know, clinical care. They care more about the bottom line, right?
That's
And
true.
so the patient ends up suffering, you know, as a casualty, and the providers, the healthcare providers, besides being a doctor, you know, ends up being on the front lines and being a pawn. You know, I'm really sorry to say, but that's who we are at the end of the
Yeah.
day. And that's the
That is true.
saddest thing that I've, you
Yeah.
know, observed, you know, so.
Yeah. And I appreciate you for saying that. We hopefully will get better. More doctors like you will keep coming up.
Oh yeah,
To,
there's a
you
lot
know,
of us,
there
you
are
know.
more. Yes, there are
Yeah.
more, and that's the good thing, because then it gives people the opportunity to see another side of healthcare, of medicine, the preventive side, because we don't have to be sick all the time. We don't have to be on maintenance drug all the time. There are some things, yes, but there are other things that a few changes in your diet would help, which takes me to my next question. Lately, everybody, we've been talking about all the foods that vitamin C, vitamin A, are these, all the food that helps foster a better immune system. But I would appreciate it if you can tell us 5 foods that really create havoc in our immune system. The foods that really, because of course, food will do 2 things. It will either give health or feed disease. In you as a physician and a nutritionist, what are the 5 worst things that you can do to yourself?
I mean, I can probably even go beyond that, because I
Okay.
don't want to turn it into, you know, like a Dr. Oz that, you know, praises blueberries on one show and then everyone, you know, makes a mad dash to, you know, the
Yeah.
supermarket just to overconsume blueberries, you know?
Yeah,
So
that's
I
why I
would,
don't want you to talk about the good foods. I want you to talk about some of the things that we can either avoid or do in moderation, not trying to change people's lifestyle, like, oh, go vegan or go this or go that. But in my opinion, dealing with a lot of sickness,
yeah.
these are some of the things that you can limit, avoid to help.
Yeah, so I would say, you know, if you know, when I talk to my patients, you know,
Yeah.
all my patients fall, you know, on a spectrum, you know, from being more animal-based predominant to all the way to being an extreme vegan, right? And then everyone in between. I don't prescribe diets.
That's right.
I just tell them to eat more plants. You know, it's really
Yep.
simple, and I do my best to meet people where they are.
Where
So
they
if they're
are.
not really ready to take it to the next step, I just say, okay, just 1% or just do a little bit, today, right? And even
That's
same
right.
thing with the other lifestyle pillars, but we'll get into that later. But yeah, it's as simple as eating more plants. So a lot of studies have shown that, when you eat more plants have something predominantly more that animal-based foods don't have. And what I mean by animal-based foods would be, meat, eggs, dairy, and cheese, right? And
Yeah.
what we found through research, and there's like a mountain load of research, is that
Yeah.
animal-based foods, we're not even talking about refined processed, foods on the shelves. We'll get to that later. But animal-based foods, what it does is that it increases, inflammation in your body. And inflammation, I want you to kind of think of it as like a slow, it's almost like a slow simmer of a fire. It's like constantly, like nipping at you, right?
Yeah.
Inflammation is a good thing because that's what happens when you injure yourself. Inflammation is the process of, healing and repair, and your body sends a lot of chemicals to be able to heal that, right? But when you
Yeah.
have chronic inflammation, what ends up happening is that it ends up slowly destroying the body. And a lot of these diseases come from chronic inflammation: diabetes, heart disease, cancer, strokes, and more. You can prevent up to 80% of lifestyle related diseases by eating more plants and practicing a healthy lifestyle. Okay, 80%.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
drug or procedure can give you those statistics. And when I say
Yeah.
eat more plants, I'm saying, more dark green leafy vegetables, more beans and legumes, whole grains, and, all these other things that, you
Yeah.
also, teach and, work with in your cooking as well. There's a lot of studies that show that when you're eating more plants, you're consuming a lot more fiber. Fiber helps to, regulate, the gut, our
Yeah.
gut health, the microbiome. It influences and boosts the immune system. Fiber is the roughage, kind of like a scrub pad, right? And it
That's
helps to
right.
cleanse the gut, okay? And something that animal-based foods do not have, right? Completely
Yeah.
zero fiber.
That's true.
If you were to tell me, one thing I could take away from today, it's that it's eating more fiber.
Yeah.
Americans are totally deficient, in fiber,
That's right.
and vitamins and minerals, which are more plentiful in plant food
Plant.
than animal food. And it's the
Yeah.
vitamins and minerals that make up the components and help us to thrive and make us up the components in our immune system. And animal-based foods don't have as well. And so
That's true.
animal-based foods promote more inflammation, when you consume more, okay?
Yeah.
And then you have, processed refined foods, things that live on the shelves of the supermarket. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So things that are living on the shelves will promote more inflammation. Why? Because they are reduced to singular components. So, I advocate eating more of whole foods and less of the singular components. So things on the shelves are more singular components, and they have what with them? They're all packaged, right? So they have preservative, binders, chemicals, all these different things that promote inflammation.
Inflammation.
Yeah. So you want to shop around the perimeter of the supermarket. Why? Because that's where the refrigeration is to keep things alive, right? You want things to keep you alive. Things on the shelves are already dead.
Yes.
So,
That's right. That's right.
yeah. And a couple more things is, when eating more plants, eating more fiber, consuming things that are lower in fat, and maintaining a healthy body weight, all, improve our immune system. Okay.
Yeah.
And then, like you were mentioning before, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, the vitamin C, A, E, beta carotene, right? So those are made up of, all these different kinds of foods, right? And I would say the easiest way, instead of just picking one or the other, is to eat the rainbow. Okay, so as colorful. I mean, you're just drinking, a rainbow right now, right? Like hold up your jar, hold up your jars. Yeah, look, see, so like,
that's my water.
Yeah, you want
Yeah,
to eat the rainbow, right? Like
that's
sweet
right.
potatoes, red peppers,
Yeah,
Swiss chard, eggplant. Like eat the rainbow. That's where you're
yeah,
going to get those fighting components to be able to maintain weight, regulate your gut health, improve your immune system, and just overall
yeah.
optimize your body health.
Overall health.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so
And
just eat more plants. That's it.
rest is a good one too.
Rest is a good one.
Rest is a
Sleep
good one.
sleep.
Yeah,
17 years and up. Advocating for a minimum of 7 to 9 hours of sleep, and that's
yeah,
quality sleep, not broken sleep.
yeah,
Quality sleep
yeah,
to help with your immune system. When you're younger,
yeah.
you do want to have more hours of sleep as well. So
That's right. I think the one thing that I tell my clients or anybody who is ready to listen, I say, if you don't have an allergy to a particular food, don't just follow the trend because
yeah.
there are all type of diets, grain free, this, don't eat this, don't eat this, don't eat this. You can figure out what works for you and what doesn't work by being fully present. And I always use this example. My youngest son, he's 15 now. When he was, I don't know, he might be 2 years old, he would complain that his stomach hurts.
Mhm.
And I started keeping a food journal because we used to do soy milk,
Mhm.
organic soy milk. I would make milk because we don't do dairy. And he would complain. And this is soy milk is used for when he turned one from breast milk, I think 16 months. And then I would do soy to make his stuff. When I started keeping the food journal, I realized that every time he had soy milk, his stomach would hurt. When I looked, I did the food journal just for 1 week. This I'm saying how being present is important because when you eat food and you're fully present, you can feel
Mhm.
if that food is good for you or not. It doesn't have to be, we're all bio individuals. It doesn't have to be, oh, because it's working for A. And what I did, I stopped for 3 days. I didn't give him anything with soy milk. And he would eat fermented soy. So if I make tofu and things like that, that didn't bother him. The thing that bothered him was the milk. And then I
Mm.
tried it again. And the same experience, my tummy hurts. And that was it. We never did soy milk.
Yeah.
We are our best experiment, except you have an allergy. Don't just give up a whole segment of food. Oh, I can't eat any grains, or I can't eat any this, especially if they are plants.
Mhm.
Try it. If it doesn't work for you, then give it up. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's my little spiel.
Yeah, well, actually, I have a lot of points to address that. Like,
Yeah,
nothing is actually a true allergy. So, true allergy is, when you're having chest pain, shortness of breath, your throat is closing. That's a true allergy, right? That's anaphylaxis, right?
yeah,
We have things called food sensitivities, right?
that's
And food
right.
sensitivities could manifest into like bloating,
Yeah,
more gas, highs, skin rashes, a lot of mucus production, a lot
yeah,
of, children have, sensitivities and allergies to like milk,
yeah,
maybe because we're not baby cows. And yeah, it's simple.
yeah,
My quick thing with dairy is that, why dairy? Well, why? You're not a baby cow.
yeah,
Just look in the mirror.
yeah,
So, anyway, so and the thing is that it's so important to listen to your body cues. And in our
yeah,
current modern society, is that we're constantly distracted, right? And so
yep,
when you're constantly distracted, you're taken away from your senses, right? You
that's
don't really
right.
reflect. We eat standing up. We eat, watching TV. We eat, reading the news, right? We're constantly
Mindlessly,
mindlessly,
mindlessly.
right?
Yep,
And
yep,
as chefs and cooks, it's like, we care about the patients needing to cook good food. We care about
that's right.
the aroma, the taste, how it feels on the palate, stuff like
Yeah,
that. And I'm glad that, you and I are both graduates of the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. And the
yeah,
number one thing that Joshua, the founder of the school, he teaches, he made the school for health coaching, is that, it's bio individuality, like you just
That's
said,
right.
right? And
That's right.
so we don't necessarily need to be vegans. You know what I'm saying? Like if you study the blue zones, and the blue zones are the
Yep.
highest concentrations of people in the world living, over 100, right?
And
Not
healthily over
and
100.
and they're not
Yep.
totally vegan, right?
Yep.
They
Yep.
just don't eat how we eat every
Yes.
single day, three
That's
times a
right.
day. They eat it, they eat meat for celebratory
Yeah.
events, for weddings, for
That's right.
holidays. You're just
That's
talking about
right.
a handful of times in a year. And we do
That's
this
right.
3 times a day, sometimes
Yeah.
snacking in between. So we're constantly, putting that, food that's creating inflammation into our bodies.
And a lot of it. I remember when I came to the United States, it was the first time in my life that I ever saw a pound of meat on a plate for
Yeah.
one person. Because, normally meat at home would be something that's done on a Sunday because it was rice and beans, it was plantains and beans, we did a lot of plants, but we would do some fish and we would do some meats. But it wasn't every day. You could go a month and you have meat twice, and it would be a pound of meat cut in cubes that the entire family would eat. So seeing somebody you go to a restaurant and you're like, oh, I'll take a pound or half a chicken. That was a big deal to me. Until this day, I've been in this country for 30 years. I still cut meat in cubes.
Mm-hmm.
We still don't eat. I went for years without eating any meat. And I got to a point where my body needed it.
Mm-hmm.
And I started, if I would want, it's an investment to me because I have to look for the best quality, good grass fed, without, pastured. Even then, it's not something. If you pay attention, you would figure out the best food for you.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to do too much of it. It could be a little bit of piece of fish. You don't want to give up meat, okay. But as you said, if somebody is already sick and you know that what's causing this illness is because you're eating bacon every day, you're eating meat, you're eating pork, you're eating all these things.
Yeah.
And you are on medication on it, and you're not willing to give up just a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing is that, there's a lot of influences this from over time. You have
That's
the
true.
media, you have the news.
Yeah.
And I think our society is very obsessed with, dairy, meat, because of things like protein.
Protein. Yes.
Protein, like if you don't get enough protein, you can't beat X, Y, and Z. If you don't get enough calcium, you can't get X, Y, and Z. And the thing is that not only can you get more than enough protein in plants and calcium, but it's better absorbed. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And,
Yes.
it's a myth that you don't get enough calcium. It's a myth that you don't get enough protein. And, even things like, athletes and people who are athletic, there's a lot of great vegan bodybuilders. There's a lot of great vegan, major athletes, that, predominantly eat plants and they do well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
just look at the largest animals on the planet. You know what I'm saying? From the elephants to the giraffe to, our sea animals, our whales, gorillas, our largest animals.
Yeah.
They're predominantly vegetarians. You know what I'm saying?
Even the cows that we eat.
Yeah, and you think they're
It's
not strong?
vegetarian.
You don't
Yeah.
think they're not strong? We've used these animals and domesticated them before we had cars to transport our stuff. They're the strongest animals on the planet, So
Yeah. So we have a few questions.
Yeah.
When we're done, I'm going to try and go through it so we can see. But you touched the point that I wasn't even thinking that we're going to go there, but I have a closed Facebook group with about, I think, 1,500 moms in this particular group. And what we were talking about last week was about calcium, because I had shared a post that dairy, milk, it's not a healthy food. If you're really trying, like we had my child is low in iron and we've been doing everything. And I had asked, what is when you give your child iron? What do you give your child iron with? It's like, oh, well, we would do milk, either with milk. And I said, well, milk, if you're trying to give your child iron, milk really is one of the things that you can combine the two because it just stops the absorption of the iron. And I said, why are you giving your child milk?
Yeah.
And she said, oh, calcium. And I said, well, if it's calcium, you can do something like sesame seeds because sesame seeds have more calcium than what's in dairy. And it's interesting, but I'm glad that you brought this up because it's a cultural thing in a way. And there is a huge marketing machine around this that is not even letting, it just keeps coming at people. So parents can't even use common sense to think through this. Because if health is what we are trying, our healthcare system or whoever is promoting some of these foods is trying to push, then if we're telling people, oh, you need calcium, dairy shouldn't be the only thing, or even what they are pushing, especially when you see the studies around dairy, right? It will be, oh, because the commercial is do dairy for strong bones, you get calcium. But America has more people with fractured hips and things like that than anyone else. Right?
Yeah, definitely. So I mean, number one for dairy, if it comes from, a cow, you're not a baby cow. And also, baby cows, they don't continue to drink cow's milk after a certain point. And yet we consume cow's milk that's meant for a baby cow and, up until we're adults, it's like we're already weaned. So why would you, And another thing too is that, if you look at the food pyramid, back in the day, it was heavily influenced by big dairy. You have a lot of deep pockets influencing, that you have the big, meat, organizations. And so they influence the food, guidelines. And so that, that's part of our, conditioning, what I'm saying? So they have no interest in your actual, health. But yeah, it is not that greatly absorbed. Plants not only do they have better calcium, they better absorb because they have magnesium. Magnesium helps to absorb calcium. Much better. And to answer your point about the iron, you need vitamin C to help absorb iron much better as well. And you can get plenty of iron from plant food. Dark leafy greens. Soybeans, exactly. So
somebody asked, what about almond milk? Okay, let me go back and see. So how about almond milk? Almond milk is good especially if you're making it. It's so easy to make almond milk at home. If you want to make it, I have a video on my YouTube channel on how to make almond milk. And I think I have one for oat milk and I have one for coconut milk that I haven't posted yet. But it's super easy. A cup of dry raw almond, you can soak overnight, rinse in the morning, 2 cups of water, blend, strain, and that's almond milk. If you don't have the time, if you're buying almond milk, please look at the labels because sometimes, again, it's America. It's all about the bottom line. It might have a ton of fillers in it.
Yeah, exactly. So my quick tips for labels is, if you're looking at the packaging of something, of a food item, I would say, go for 5 ingredients or less, right?
That's right.
And if there's an ingredient that you cannot pronounce, it's probably a good idea to not put that into your body. You know what I'm saying? So, and I always advocate for making things on your own. I mean, we're in a pandemic, people were indoors. This is a great opportunity to start cooking or to amp up the cooking because, you know what's going into your food. When you're eating out, essentially, whether it's restaurants, takeouts, things like that, fast food, you're essentially outsourcing your food, right? So you're letting others prepare food for you. You don't know, behind the kitchen, you don't know how it's prepared. You don't know what ingredients, the quality ingredients they're putting in.
That's right.
And unfortunately, they're there for business. They're not there for your health.
For your health.
So your best bet is you don't have to be, a Food Network, chef or a Michelin star chef. That's all dramatized, right? You just need to start cooking. And, if you've listened and follow Agatha, you know that it's very, simple, it's easy, a few utensils, a few ingredients. Like you and I actually talked about this. We had a COVID session.
On your podcast.
On my podcast. Yeah. So I run a podcast called Thrive Bites, and Agatha and I had a episode together, and we talked about this. You start with very, 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 short and simple, tools and ingredients.
Yeah. And someone asked, like, what's in my water? Mm-hmm. It's lemon, cucumber, and mint. That's it.
Agatha, you got to tell me ahead of time so I can bring something fancy as well.
I know. No, next time we are going to, it might be, let me think about this. It might be will be Zoom, and you teach us how to do some miso type healthy immune boosting soups. I follow your cooking thing, so I see you do some good stuff. So my hope with the Strive and Grow series is to help families break the cycle of sickness and dependency on drugs that honestly leave people sicker. What are some parting thoughts for both parents and children listening to avoid a future life plagued with sickness?
Yeah, so basically everything we talked about here, I'm going to, for your listeners, I don't know if this is going to be recorded or not, but
yes, it is, and I'm going to share it on my IG page so you can see it, and then I would also upload it on my YouTube page. Yes.
Okay, great. I wanted to share, so everything we talked about, so far, answers that question. For those, I will leave a link, for those who follow me, give me your, email address. I could share a resource, that I follow, the American College of Lifestyle Medicine. They've created their own, power plate for children. You know what I'm saying? So,
that would be so helpful.
Yeah, that would be, I'll share that resource, and,
that would be helpful.
And I also have created a quick start guide for, resources of my own. And for the people that are listening, will get, a third off, discount for that as well, for those that are listening. But so basically, we talked a lot about food, right?
Yes.
So fitness, for, our guidelines are 150 minutes a week of cardiovascular exercise. So the two things I want you to do is, doing a little bit of aerobic conditioning and weight resistance. I don't need you to do a marathon. I don't need you to do CrossFit. I just need you to just move, stretch, calisthenics, start walking. I understand that we're in a down economy. Some of you may be unemployed. So go, to what's accessible. You know what I'm saying? A sidewalk, a trail, a park, wear a mask. Make sure you do that. Wear a mask. And, make sure that, that you get a little bit of exercise. We're talking about 30 minutes a day. You know what I'm saying? And, you get some sun, you get some natural vitamin D, which I, advocate at least, 20 or 30 minutes. A supplement is also good as well. And then, physical fitness, 2 days at least of resistance training, so even using some kettlebells, resistance bands, I also offer a way to, improve, your fitness through resistance bands training as well. And getting good sleep, 7 to 9 hours, okay, not less than that, not more than that, because studies show that, it actually worsens if you do less or worse than that. Stress management, I can't emphasize this enough. Not only does your body, you eat stress, there was a great quote, I'm going to paraphrase, I don't remember the exact quote, by Dr. Neil Bernard. And he says that, smoking back in the day, was, something that we've been very successful in terms of dramatically reducing.
Yep.
And smoking, you're inhaling inflammation. You have carcinogens, that's well documented, right? Cancer producing chemicals. But eating, he says, is the new smoking. So if you eat poorly, you're eating inflammation, like we said,
That's
right? So that's,
Yes.
in addition to risky behaviors, alcohol, right? I'm, parents, kids, hopefully kids are not drinking, but, reducing alcohol, okay? No more than 1 to 2 standard drinks, right? Ideally, none. And, reinforcing relationships with people, doing this. I know that we are doing things virtually, right? But, make it a point to call, actually have a conversation. Your kids, unfortunately, unlike you and me, grew up in an internet age. We grew up in a social media age. But, I grew up, way, before this, and you grew up before this.
Way before this.
Where we had to remember people's phone numbers. And when I was a kid and when I wanted to go and, play with my other friends, I had to remember the phone number, call and ask the mom and dad, can so-and-so, come and meet me to play a game of basketball, for example. Like times were a lot simpler. So foster communication that will help you with, your family, that will help you in your future work and careers, that will help you with your romantic relationships. And just overall stress. We're social beings. We need connections and we need
connection
people.
with each other. Yep. That's so true. So please tell everybody where they can find you. Give them your handle. And I'm going to share this. I will tag you as well. But just tell them where they can find you.
Yeah. So my website is chefdoczu.com. So CHEFDOCZ as in zebra, ZHU.com. My handles on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube is the Chef Doc, one word. And you can find all my resources there. My website is probably the easiest way. If you just go to my website, you'll find
links. And then link to
they'll link
else.
To all the social media. They'll links to like, COVID resources. I'm a huge advocate. We didn't talk about this, but I'm a huge advocate for, really getting rid of systemic racism because, the food industry, health disparities, they all integrate with systemic racism. So I have, like those kinds of resources, just a whole bunch of stuff, my store, everything is there. And like I said, I'll provide Agatha the links, but, if you follow me, I'll share you that resource that, I'll give you today of that power plate. And then, for those that are listening, a third off of my quick start resources guide.
Okay. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us. I really do appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you, everyone. And, we'll see you soon.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you guys so much for joining in. I am going to share this video on my YouTube channel and also on my page. Thank you. Have a wonderful Thursday.